Well, it's a stupid idea for two reasons. The first is that it disproportionately only benefits the executives and the CEO and the board, because those are the ones that disproportionately get most of the stock inside of a company. And it disproportionately benefits those specific hedge funds that were agitating for that behavior and activity, who take a short-term position and...
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I have to be that close?
You don't have to be that close. You can move wherever you are. Just make sure you're in frame. You can move back. We can move this wherever you want.
I realize this thing doesn't move very well.
Oh, all right. It's 420. Happy 420. We made it, guys.
Yeah, we made this one. Thursday. It's only Thursday.
Nice. Turn your gain up a little bit.
Testing.
Yep.
What's that? Oh, silica. It's not. I thought it was candy.
All right. We have new microphones. Let's watch this poor girl get scammed.
Oh, we have to watch someone get scammed. How bad's a scam?
Well, it kind of turns out okay at the end.
Wait, did I explain what's happening? I'm moving tomorrow because I finally found a place that I can live in on my own. And I'm just so excited and happy.
Los Angeles.
The bedroom is clean.
Hey.
So is the bathroom. And I've got all of my stuff
She's so ready
right
to move.
here. Oh, and in the garage. Here's the other stuff. Just waiting on my laundry to get done. 16 minutes. Oh, well, I'll finish that when I get back. I'm going to head over and see the new place.
Well, I'm at the apartment. I get here. I'm waiting around. 10 minutes in, I call the realtor dude, the building manager. And I'm like, hey, I'm here. What's up? Where are you? And he's like, oh, sorry, I'm 25, 30 minutes away. And I'm like, first off, it took me 2 calls to get him on the phone. And now I'm like, is this a scam? What's going on? So I guess I'll hang out here. I've got my car parked in the driveway of the building. So I'll hang out here and wait. Hope it's not. Okay, this is up. I just called him again and it said phone not in service.
No.
Did I get fucking scammed? I already put down my deposit and gave the rent to move in today.
Oh my goodness.
That's happened before.
No.
Where there's advertisements on Craigslist, and hopefully you didn't save any money.
Oh no. So according to the unit that I'm supposed to be renting out, this scam has happened before. Guys, I got scammed. I'm calling my bank right now and seeing if I can get the money back that I deposited. I've been on the phone with different police departments, and now I've got an officer coming out now, and I'm gonna file a report with him here on site. This is so annoying. Sorry, I had my little, I had an actual breakdown off
I was
camera.
like, she's pretty calm.
Mm-hmm.
I just had another call with the West Hollywood sheriff, and they left a voicemail on this guy. He blocked my number, but his number is still in existence, it seems. And so they left a voicemail saying that I was going to charge him with grand theft and he better return
She got
the
scammed
money
like 2,200.
ASAP.
Yeah,
Basically,
first
it's
month
kind
rent
of
and
a
deposit.
bluff because it's really hard to catch these guys, but hopefully it scares him enough that he coughs up the money and returns it to me. And now we're seeing if somebody lives in Unit 1. I've got the Sheriff's Department with me. We'll get to the bottom of this. And there is an actual guy who lives in Unit 1. So that's... This is so messed up, guys. This is so messed up. It's crazy.
Oh my
I called
God.
my bank, and my bank says since I did it through Zelle, it's a Zelle thing and they have no power. I called Zelle. Zelle says because I did it through the bank, it has to be through the bank. My bank in Chicago is now closed. So now I'm going to contact the bank that I Zelled the money to, which is Wells Fargo, and I'm going to report fraud to them through their Zelle. I can't, like, I just got scammed out of like over $2,000, guys. Okay, it's money I don't have. So looking at Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
We've
there's like that
got
stat that's like 50% of
services
Americans don't have
fraud for
$400.
Bill Payne Zell, so I'm gonna call
Who has
them
two?
Savings, yeah.
Who has
So I called Wells
2,000?
Fargo. I gave them the case number. What do you call it? I gave them the police report number for the West Hollywood Sheriff, and I told them exactly what it was. They said they do their part to investigate. What can you do though? Like, she was like, oh, Zelle. So guys, never use Zelle. Never.
With someone
Don't
you
use
don't
it to
know.
pay rent. Maybe between a friend, but that's it.
Yeah.
Because
You need to know
you
who
can't get it
using
back. All right, I made a post
like
on Reddit.
wire
I
transfers.
detailed a whole.
Wire transfers, be careful. That's how hundreds of thousands go missing.
Yeah.
Huge amounts.
Yeah, you have to meet the person before you move in. I
Story.
guess.
And now I'm at his website for D. Fernandez Homes.
Wow, he has a website and everything?
I went down here and I looked around and I went to Hosting Checker to find out who was hosting it. I clicked over and I got GoDaddy. So I'm going to call up GoDaddy and I'm going to let them know that they have a criminal
hosting a fraudulent-
who's operating a criminal business on their website. Well, I just got off the phone with GoDaddy. All I could do was report it as phishing because the guy's website is dfernandezapartmenthomes.com. I reported it as phishing and targeting apartmenthomes.com. That was all I could do. I mean, I verbally told the guy everything, but that's their system and that's the only way I could report it. So hopefully that helps. Reverse image search found this guy.
Wow, she really went after this guy.
I
Lionel
appreciate these types of
Flores.
Karens.
So he might be one and the
do what I
same
wouldn't.
with the guy who scammed me as he's using the picture. Not
Oh,
sure.
it's like a system.
I'm going to call up this guy because someone on Reddit found his license through the Texas Real Estate Commission. So I'm going to call him up and we'll see if it's Lionel or if it's a Donald Fernandez. One nice thing is having the air purifier go all day in here. I actually can breathe again, so that's cool. Next update. So I
little
realized
small
going through
victories.
all my emails and trying to trace when I first established contact with this guy and how it was actually through a Zillow listing, not Craigslist. So I've emailed the police with that information as well
They do
as with
rentals, too.
the 2 LinkedIn profiles I found, the 2 Facebook profiles I found, the identity of him as a Texas realtor, as well as 2 websites that he's listed as that same identity of that Texas realtor. I ain't stopping, folks. Well, it's Sunday morning. Good morning. And I've written to the Zillow social account for what it's worth. They sent me a message on Twitter to email a certain account, so I did. And now I'm going to file a complaint with the Federal Bureau of Investigation Internet Crime Complaint Center.
The FBI.
I'm
It just
fill
took
out
2
all the
hours
forms.
to file that report and
getting
send all
the
the
FBI
information
involved.
to Zillow that they wanted. And now I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, plus my post got taken down off of Reddit because apparently the guy's website had malware that it installs onto people. So that's
That
cool.
guy sucks.
Well, I called up the California Department of Real Estate and I was told that they would call me back. I am trying to reach an investigator there to get them to take down this guy's license or do whatever they can to protect other people. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I looked at his Department of Real Estate record and I saw, oh, he's got the salesperson license, the broker's license, he has this and that credential. And looking closer, I noticed that the dates don't line up with the other stuff that he had sent to me. So now I'm like, everything's there, but it's a little off. And it's like, there's all these red flags, but you just, until you are alerted to look at all those fine little details, you would just see that and you would think, okay, he's got these licenses like I did. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. I'm gonna,
That's why some people just
I don't know,
flash
I
a
think
badge
I'm gonna
instead
have
of
to
real
write
badge,
something
like,
up or
just
maybe
give
do
it
a
to-
video about scams and just try to help people so that people don't get duped like I did. So the California Department of Real Estate told me I need to file a case online. So I'm currently doing that. I can kind of see how these guys slip through the cracks because it's just so hard to report them everywhere and then even when
Yeah,
you're
who has time
reporting
for
them,
this?
it's really, really hard to get through. For instance, I reported on Zillow, and I've now had 2 emails back and forth, which were basically the same thing said differently, where they're asking me for the proof of what happened. And I'm like, I sent you the proof in the previous email. Why are you sending me this? It's like they don't read
They're
what
not
you send
communicating.
them. They just send a response letter again. So I'm starting to go a little crazy with them, but I'm not going to stop. Like, I want to burn this as much as possible. And now I filed a Federal Reserve consumer complaint. Huge success. Zillow took down the listing and they blocked the account off of their website. Put a little screenshot here of the email that I got.
Good for
Yes,
her.
baby, yes. Also, the actual building management company of the apartment, which I was trying to rent, gave me a call. And they had heard about the scam too. And so they're following up with the sheriff. And I sent them a copy of the email and everything. So
Nice. Get it all
hopefully
in
we
writing.
get this guy or guys or girls, whoever's behind this scam. Hopefully we make it really hard for them to run this again.
Man, that
Yeah,
sucks.
maybe it's a. I almost said Fernanda.
Because she's wearing a mask, so you know it's recent, and it's in LA. And like even during this time, like you have to watch out because God, like there's scams everywhere.
Did she fly out to LA?
No, I think
she's
no,
close.
I think
She's living in
she was
LA.
moving out of her place in LA to try to move to where she was going. That's why she had
In Hollywood? Wow.
West Hollywood.
Dang. West Hollywood's usually expensive.
I was almost scammed when I was looking for a place.
That's why she probably thought it was a good deal. There's no way. Even studios
Mm-hmm.
are $1,400 in West Hollywood.
I know, but I was almost scammed once. I think it was on when I was looking for a place up in the Bay, and if I didn't like, I was just paranoid enough to go to the house beforehand because I was like, "Can we meet?" And they kept like avoiding a meetup, and I was like, "This seems kind of fishy." But I guess don't give anyone money until you actually meet and see the place. That's really the best thing you can do if you're gonna rent, even if it's a good deal.
When you go through Zillow or Craigslist or people who've never gotten an apartment before, like you know,
No, I don't-
You wouldn't know until something's weird because you never went through it. Or
And I'm
other people
sure
went through
she
different
did her
processes.
diligence.
Yeah, because
it's
of
just
course, how
like
could she find all these things where she would know? Like, she's obviously a smart person, but she glanced over those things. She was like, "Dang it, I should have, like the dates and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh man, everyone does that."
I know.
I guess she has been.
So I guess like the only for sure way not to get scammed for like renting like that is just you
That's
got
why I
to
still
go
have
to
a
the place
checkbook.
and meet the person.
I still have a checkbook, and I still have, and when I meet, like, I'll be like, "All right." Some people don't know how to cash a check. Well, no, now it's easier. You could photo.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let's look at this. Moving on, because Trung's here. Hi, Trung.
That forces both parties to respond.
He was
Yeah, but the Zelle thing complicated. Remember our PayPal issues? Oh, I don't think you remembered them.
I mean, there
depth,
are
but
issues, but then that doesn't
because
like
of the tech. It was harder to get money back. Even
once
when
money's
both parties signed-
sent, it's impossible to get it back. That's on Venmo, PayPal, Square, Zelle, wire transfers. Like
See,
once
that's
it's sent, they
why-
release themselves
that's
of
why I
all
was like,
liability.
People don't understand when they use those things how different it is. Like I tried to explain it to Miguel. I'm like, I can get the money back if you use this credit card.
Yeah.
It's got protection. I can't do it if it's harder if you use a debit. He's like, they look the same.
All right. Well, Trung's on, so I want to get to this story because I think it's good. The insane, what is it? Mayor of Las Vegas wants to reopen the casinos. She's literally crazy.
So
Right.
taking that into consideration, and that we have, once you're diagnosed that you're positive, we have no preventive treatment other than staying away from everybody, which is your choice to do and has been asked by our governor and everybody's doing. But with no timeline, no treatment, and no cure, no vaccine, this could go on for months, maybe
but
even
what
a
we
year.
do know, but science tells us, and Dr. Fauci isn't saying wait a year. Dr. Fauci is saying, and all scientists are saying, it just needs some more time to get this to where medical establishment is up and running, and where there's enough PPE and there's enough testing being done and contact tracing. What are you doing as mayor to improve contact tracing and testing in Las Vegas?
Well, first of all, as someone who's pretty sure she possibly had it in January, I have already been into the hospital to say, take my plasma.
Well, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about what are you doing as mayor to improve contact tracing? I'm calling upon everyone to go ahead, if they're positive, to go ahead and see if they can help being part of the preventive or the treatment pool that will have this plasma available. Are you doing anything on testing and contact tracing? Because
yeah, so Anderson Cooper keeps asking, like, in order to get things back open up, you need to increase testing and contact tracing like they do.
Yeah, there have been steps presented.
Right.
You can open up, just do this and this and this.
Even like the Trump administration and like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, they released like the gating. Yeah, they released like gating criteria you need to even open up.
Yeah.
And her response is, if you got the coronavirus, go and donate your plasma and you can help be part of the treatment. But it's like she's now relying on...
She doesn't want to do any preventative anymore.
Yeah, she just wants people who have had, like, I guess, coronavirus to go and donate plasma.
And she just thinks that she could have possibly had it.
Uh-huh.
Like she...
Anyways, let's keep going with the clip because it gets more crazy.
In order to open businesses, every scientist says that is essential.
I don't have that. Well, no, that's for our scientists, and the whole thing is fact, truth,
but you're
validated data.
Fact. You're calling for businesses to reopen. Every scientist and person who looks at this says what we really need to do that is more testing and more contact tracing.
That can't work. We're not getting the truth, and I know over the years, going back to 19.
So wait.
We're not getting the truth.
From the scientists that she said it's their job to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she just say that?
She's saying She's saying no. She's saying the data you're getting isn't the truth. That's her argument for data that doesn't align with her wanting to reopen. And then she's going to use, I think she's going to use an example.
She just deflected the responsibility of knowing the science behind it, saying, go talk to the scientists. And then she comes and presents something that's from the scientists, and it's like, that's not right. What?
Yeah, so she's using like the word science as like, just as a, it's just justified when she's making her point, but then any science that isn't with her point is just, you're not getting the right data.
Okay.
It's misinformed when it's not aligning with hers.
Statistics.
It's like, what's that word? You have a bias towards just what you believe.
Confirmation bias? You're just taking
you're
the
just
data that confirms
right.
your move forward.
And then rejecting all other data.
But
and she'll keep doing it in the course of this interview.
1950s with the atomic bomb. Don't worry about it when we're testing in Nevada. You'll all be fine. Take a shower. The reality is...
You're the one saying you'll all be fine.
Yeah, she's the one saying everyone's going to be fine.
No.
Testing and contact.
You're putting words in my mouth. I said, open up Las Vegas. Let us get started and go back to work.
As mayor, what are you doing to encourage?
Can't even feed their families or take care of their families.
I get the pain that's out there, and it's real, and I'm not minimizing that at all. I'm just asking you as mayor, what are you doing to improve testing, make it more accessible, and improve contact tracing? Because every scientist who you say you listen to will tell you that's what you need in order to get online as fast as possible. What are you doing?
Every single email that comes in with offers to give us the kits and get everything here, I send it up to the people in the hospitals for them to filter through to find out if these test kits and everything that's being offered and provided
You said in another interview that you talked to Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Yes,
if you
he's
actually
a good friend.
If you talk to Mayor Garcetti, he's doing everything he can to improve testing in Los Angeles.
I think that's
what are you
wonderful,
doing?
and
You said it's not your job.
Wait, no, it is not part of our job. That's part of our health department, part of our hospital jobs, our labs. Those are the ones who are the experienced, knowledgeable,
so you're not rolling up your
and have the
sleeves, helping your health
connections.
department to try to figure out
My
how to-
days are so full. I am every.
So does her hospitals and those guys in her jurisdiction, do they agree with her?
I don't think the governor does.
The governor's not in her jurisdiction. I mean, she's a part of his.
Oh, right.
The people within her,
right.
those hospitals, because she's saying, I pass on that information so that they can get the test. She keeps diverting from answering the question of whether or not they're doing the testing and stuff. She's like, oh, that's for our public health group in our, whatever. And that's fine. But do we know what they think? Like they have a public health department.
Yeah, I think she
Las
thinks.
Vegas.
Well, I think at least she thinks they're separate because he said, "Are you not going to roll up your sleeves and help them?" And she says, "My days are so full with other things."
Well, I know, but what I'm wondering if she's fighting them on this, or if they're okay with opening it too. Because then it's like, well, then that's their city.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like if they're backing her because they're ready. Maybe she just doesn't have some answers. But I'm wondering if her public health in Las Vegas is agreeing with what she says here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't know. I somehow doubt it.
Each city has their department because they've got big hospitals and whatnot.
In the city trying to hold the hands of families and everyone else to get them back to work so they can pay for the food for their children and keep a roof over their head. And we are 2.3 million, and we have so many, probably close to 900,000 that are out of work because this wonderful city's been shut down.
Can I, Alyssa, again, I don't want to seem, I'm not, I understand your position. But I don't really understand your position because I think you see your position. I guess because you have no control over the casinos and take no responsibility for it, you can call for whatever you want to call for. But the people who actually do have to be responsible for the health and safety of the people in those casinos and the employees that you say you care so much about.
Absolutely.
Right.
Without
those people
question.
are saying
the owners.
It's not the time for that yet. I want to just show you.
No, they aren't.
And show,
No. The hotel, depending upon who you speak, with whom you speak, I hear all the time from the casino owners who want to put their employees back to work. 7,000 people.
I'm sure a lot of owners want their businesses up and running. That does not surprise me.
Yes, and Anderson, you can find people to speak on either side. What's happened in this country is so much anger and
the
just
governor
everything
says,
being fanned.
The governor says
I
that,
admire our governor. And
the governor says,
what he
unfortunately,
thinks
I've known the mayor. I don't need politicians weighing in on what what's the best date would be.
I am a politician.
I need doctors and medical sound advice.
No.
Then what are you?
In the last 2 sentences. I am not a politician. I am a politician. Those are 2 sentences she just strung together. Did you know?
The best that we can have. I'm assuming yes. And all I'm doing is asking for a plan so I can tell our people who are calling by the thousands, when are they going to get a paycheck? How can they get a roof over their heads? I am down in the groundwork with the people who've made this city what it is, who've come here to live, come here to build it, and we were not broken, and we need to get back to work. That's it.
There's Chinese researchers have shown how this virus spreads, and I just want to put up for our viewers. This is a restaurant.
Anderson, you are tough.
No, I'm not
We're
talking.
back to China. This isn't China. This is Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow. Okay, that's really ignorant. This is a restaurant, and the
That's
yellow
ignorant
circle.
to say
That's an ignorant statement. That's a restaurant, and yes, it's in China, but there are human beings
the
too.
virus knows
That yellow is a person who is asymptomatic and infected, and all those other red circles are other diners who that one diner passed the virus to. All those other people became infected in a restaurant that had air conditioning, and they believe it was the air conditioning which helped the virus spread to all those other people.
You remember the Legionnaire's disease in 1976 in Philadelphia came all through the air conditioning. You don't remember because you're younger.
I do remember.
Typhoid Mary, who I think passed away, during the late 30s, rode the buses.
I don't know. She just compared coronavirus to another disease that also spread through air conditioning. So it's like, what's your point?
Yeah, you just you just confirmed that it's not just China. It's
it happens
any
here.
Restaurant with any air conditioning.
It's already happened.
And
it's
the virus doesn't know where it's at either. It's just, is it a human cell? It's a human cell. I'm going to infect it. Like
a cook, and she was asymptomatic, and she spreaded a fear of getting typhoid, and she never showed a sign of it. And she lived most of her life quarantined. The reality was, I think 58 people passed away from typhoid. And so
that's typhoid from Typhoid Mary. So she just described like the scariest example of a person who doesn't show any symptoms passing it on and killing at least 58 people.
The main cause of how this spread so efficiently
I know.
was its incubation period and its diverse symptoms presentation along all different groups of people, ages and so and so it's like you can't.
Is this woman Stephen Colbert? Are we being punked?
I know. I keep watching these things and thinking it's a joke.
She's making her point. It's like it's dangerous, but she keeps wanting to open it back up.
She's done that. This is like the 4th time.
Yeah.
If we had a shot for every time she went, that's why I was
I'm
like,
taking a
she
puff
strings
every
two
time
sentences that's like completely contradicted themselves. That's why I'm like, is she high?
Yeah, so she doesn't she's not making any point as she keeps going because she keeps contradicting herself. She's like, remember Legionnaire's disease? That spread through air conditioning. Remember Typhoid Mary? She didn't show any symptoms and killed 58 people. Let's keep going.
Aware of this. We learned from history. Right. We've had Ebola. We've had the West Nile. We've had polio. We've had these horrific,
none of those were as
painful.
Infectious in Las Vegas. I mean, you didn't have people with Ebola on a casino floor. You know what? If you did,
we don't know that.
Well, yeah, you do, because if you had it...
A neighbor of mine died from West Nile because the swimming pool on the next property was filled with mosquitoes, and the people who had abandoned the house left
another
the pool full.
Great example.
So we looked at this. This is part of life.
Just as mayor,
the challenges.
As mayor, are you not concerned when you see just that restaurant graphic, how air conditioning spreads this and other people become infected?
Yes, from Legionnaire's disease. That's just what I said.
And now coronavirus.
And so, of course, we know that. We tried to work on the sensitivities of people to be responsible as to spreading any kind of germ, whether it's the flu.
But don't you think that it's worked in Las Vegas, social distancing? Don't you think it's worked? Because, I mean, 163 deaths, that is, compared to some other states, that's low. For those families, it is all that matters.
We're 2.3 million people in southern Nevada, and we've had 150 deaths.
163, I believe, is the latest number, actually.
Wrong, but that's for Nevada. That's Nevada. This is down here, 150. Okay.
So you've had almost all the deaths, by the way, in Nevada, you've had in Las Vegas. So you've had 150 deaths out of 163 deaths.
We're 2.3
Isn't that because of social distancing that you would have had far more without it? Do you not believe that?
We're 2.3 million here. There are 3 million, up overall in the state. The numbers may be off, but I know we're well over 2 million.
Do you not believe social distancing has helped keep people alive?
We're at the lion's share of the population and the income and the jobs. When you have 2.3 million and you have lost, and every one of those 150, oh my gosh, it could be your own mother, your own grandmother, your grandfather.
Like this isn't happening anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't an isolated Nevada case.
Yeah, it's not like New York is opening up.
Freaking metropolitan. It's in this whole country and in the whole world. Like, what is?
Yeah, you're one of 50 states. You're one city in one state of 50.
I know.
She's a mayor. She's not even a governor.
Threatening her life, like.
Maybe. I mean,
brother, your sister, anybody, every one of those lives is a tragic loss. But when you count 150 versus 2.3 million, you have to say, we have to open up. We have to go back. Our bus drivers, our
But hasn't it been because of social distancing that the numbers have been what they are?
How do you know until we have a control group? We offer to be a control group. Anybody who knows anything about statistics knows that, for instance, you have a vaccine.
You're offering the citizens of Las Vegas to be a control group to see if your theory on social distancing works or doesn't work.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Don't put words in my mouth.
You just said we'll be able
to sure.
Excuse me. What I said was, I offered to be a control group, and I was told by our statistician, you can't do that because people from all parts of Southern Nevada come in to work in the city. And I said, oh, that's too bad, because I know when you have a disease, you have a placebo that gets the water and the sugar, and then you get those that actually get the shot. We would love to be that placebo side so you have something to measure against. So all the data until
you want to get the placebo, you don't want to get the actual.
Well,
no, the group who gets the placebo, by the way, usually gets the short end of the stick.
Well, you don't know. How do you know when you're in part of that group? You are.
Mayor, if casinos reopen, are you going to be inside those casinos every single night, putting your own life on the line?
He's asking her if she would join the people in the casinos.
It's a question. Are you going to go to casinos every night and put your life on the line like all the workers you say you were there holding their hands?
So they don't need it. We weren't broken. We tragically have 150 people we lost. Tragic. We have 2.3 million people here.
I haven't heard you say yes, that you would be sitting on those casino floors every night along with the people that you say you are holding their hands with.
What is the purpose of that? First of all, I have a family.
Because it would be putting your money. It would be putting money where your mouth is, to use a Las Vegas term.
Anderson,
if you say it's safe.
Anderson.
Okay, so you're not willing to sit on the casino floors with them when they reopen and breathe the refiltered air.
If he could smack her.
First of all, I don't gamble. I used to gamble when we first came to town. I don't have the time. I work 7 days a week. I have so many things that I have to attend to. I can't sit
I wouldn't want
on
to
a
sit on those floors either.
floor.
I wouldn't want to sit on the floors either. I'm with you on that one. Mayor Carolyn Goodman, I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best for the people of your city.
He has so much patience. I have some respect for him now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. I think I've never watched his show.
Yeah, to keep on the question and to not let them deflect and to be like, just to be clear.
His eyes didn't even bulge.
He's like, just to be clear, you're not gonna join the people in the casinos if they open just to put money where your mouth is. What a great line.
He just wants to be the. She's the president that calls the shots.
Man, yeah, I know. I wonder what people in Las Vegas feel about that. If they're like, if they're infuriated, or maybe they want to open. There's a lot of places I want to open.
You saw the people rioting. That's all I want to know. Did we show that man?
All those people getting astroturfed. We did.
The one, the Ohio, and he died. You know, he died of COVID.
I don't know. I didn't get the clip where or the news that he died.
Oh, it's kind of sad, and his wife has it. I was like, oh gosh, that's like not even funny.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
I know.
This is, I guess, a good story. Good CEOs. They don't need bailouts. They are fabulous. Anyways, Chamath Palihapitiya says it best. Let's watch this clip because it's so good. It's a response to what he's been saying, which is let them go under. They can go bankrupt. Don't bail them out, the big companies.
There's an interesting fact, Scott, that you should know, which is that since 2009, the 500 companies in the S&P 500, so these are the 500 best companies in the world, they bought back $7 trillion of stock and or issued dividends. Okay, that turned out to be more than 90 cents of every single dollar of profit that they made over the last 11 plus years. The federal government, as well as the Fed, between monetary and fiscal stimulus combined, have essentially transferred around $7 trillion now back to those said companies, as well as, companies slightly smaller than them.
So what he's saying is basically, not only did these companies for the past, since 2009, the top 500 companies in the S&P 500, have they used like 90% of their profits from the last year on buybacks on dividends, basically to give the profits back to their shareholders to people who already own the company, who are disproportionately like the managers, the CEOs, and people on the top.
Buybacks?
Wait. But not only did they spend 90% of their profits giving it to themselves, they were also awarded bailout money. So not only did they spend the equivalent of 7 trillion in buybacks and dividends, they also got about 7 trillion from the government. So they doubled their money by mismanaging it.
No, and that's why I realized, I'm like, okay, wait. If Main Street is paying twice, who is getting paid twice?
Yeah, right. Anyways, let's keep going.
And I think why I was frustrated is that I just think that that kind of behavior makes no sense. And instead of being punished, it has been rewarded. And if you ask me why, here's how I would explain it. The job of a CEO, especially of a public for-profit company, is to be a fabulous allocator of resources. And there are only 2 kinds of resources that a CEO controls that matter. The first is human capital, right? The people that work inside of your company and the ideas that they have and the products that they make. And the second is financial capital, the money that you take to invest in great ideas, to protect for the future, to prepare for whether it's a pandemic or a shock or a recession or a competitor. And the best capital allocators become the best CEOs. So if you take a company like Facebook or Google, they're a very capital asset light business. So a lot of their skill is in picking great people. So take Zuck. He picked Sheryl Sandberg, he picked me, he put us in positions to build that business. He's a fabulous human capital allocator. On the other end of the spectrum, take Buffett. He has no human capital inside of Berkshire. It's all financial capital, but he is a fabulous capital allocator. Or you take Jeff Bezos, a case in the middle where he has both of those 2 things. In all cases, great CEOs are great allocators of capital.
Yeah, so if you look at the companies that we're bailing out and the companies that don't need it, it's really the difference in how they were managing their money until now. And God, it's just so infuriating.
Wait, so
because he's saying if you're making a profit, you would use the capital to as leverage as either merger and acquisitions or research and development or basically expanding on it.
Invest back instead of just sucking the life out of it when it's like the most inopportune time.
Right. So he explains clearly and concisely why stock buybacks and dividends are infuriating.
Well, okay, so also he said something which I thought the dividends were paid out because the people who had put their money in don't want to continue to putting that positive growth back into it. So,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah, REI has members' dividends.
Were. And so so then the problem is when there's not positive cash flow, there should be no dividends. How is that? And they still pay it? And I don't understand what the logic behind this is when this should be numbers, but why do you still pay it if there is no positive cash flow? Why are they starting to drain? There's no, and like, why is that allowed?
Right.
And then why do they get to buy it back once they reduce? Like,
so what he's going
sounds so like manipulated in that whole thing, and I don't understand what the.
So let me reiterate your question just to see if I understand it. So what you're asking is, how is it that a big company can lose money yet
pay its dividends?
Yet still pay stock dividends? And like, how do people still make money even when a company is losing money? And he explains the mechanism really well because it only benefits what he calls like the managerial class, like the people that I guess manage company, and it's a very unbalanced.
It's like the hedge fund managers,
right? And so
there's only certain people who are allowed to invest in certain things and certain. Remember, we were trying to figure out how to do. We had to talk to that SEC.
So let's watch. So let's watch this clip because he's going to explain how a company would still pay out dividends even when it's losing money year after year.
When you do things like buybacks and dividends, what you are essentially saying is you are throwing your hands up in the air and declaring to the world, I do not know what to do with this money. And instead of deciding to save that money, to try to do M&A, to try to invest in R&D, to pay your employees more, these people have given it back in an open market purchase. Now, let's look at that for a second. Why is that a stupid idea? Well, it's a stupid idea for two reasons. The first is that it disproportionately only benefits the executives and the CEO and the board, because those are the ones that disproportionately get most of the stock inside of a company. And it disproportionately benefits those specific hedge funds that were agitating for that behavior and activity, who take a short-term position and allow themselves to participate in short-term profits. And now what happens is the people that believe least in the company, i.e. the people that sell the stock, get rewarded. And then who's left holding the bag? The people that believe in the business. Let's take a specific example, Scott, and you can see how bad this is. IBM, over the last decade, has spent $140 billion on buybacks. This is a company with a $100 billion market cap. The last CEO found a way to oversee 24 consecutive quarters of revenue decline, and for that, was still able to compensate herself $100 million of stock-based comp. Now, you look at all of this kind of behavior and you can say, how is this supported? Why aren't all these companies trying to figure out how to be more resilient? And it turns out that the incentives were so skewed away from being resilient, it was only focused on short-term profiteering for the sake of the managerial class and the hedge funds around them, and nobody else.
So, just reiterate one more time. IBM, they saw 24 years of decline, or 24, I forget what he said, periods of decline, but since like 1998, I think, from his tweet. And
the stock prices still went up.
No. Yet the CEO still saw like a package of like 100 million to it's in dividends. I think, if I'm not understanding that correctly. So it's basically like there are mechanisms that encourage short-term profiteering over the long-term growth of the company. And because so when
slower gains,
or it's negative gains, but then because you're buying back the stocks,
make it look like it's positive,
right? Because you can buy back the stocks when they're low, and then inflate the price when they're high, and then you can sell them when and make your money when they're high, and then when they drop in price, you can just buy them, buy them again.
See, this is why I was like, if this is legal, if they didn't find anything illegal with what Trump was doing with his foundation, in that whole, there was like 195-page thing about how they were. Anyways, it's like all this. It's like normal.
Yeah, this is finance.
Allowed, and I was like, then you just have to. So that's just allowed. And I wonder, is that why certain people are so against going public?
No, I think that's why.
Public.
There's no. It's not like if you know how to manage your capital, like he said.
Then it wouldn't.
Then it's not an issue. But then if you, I think he's saying the problem is our government rewards this kind of behavior for some reason, with bailout money, and it continues to exist because these companies that have for some reason found themselves indispensable to like the economy of the United States, they
call themselves indispensable.
Right. They can practice these horrific buyback and dividend practices that
without accounting.
Yeah, and it's costing the taxpayer literally trillions of dollars.
We paid twice, they get paid twice.
Yep.
I'm gonna run for Congress.
Yeah, you should. It's easy.
Before they
If
change
AOC,
the rules.
if AOC can do it.
I know. Fine.
So, he also says the only solution right now is to. Chamath Palihapitiya says the only solution right now is to put money directly in people's hands. He sounds more like Andrew Yang, but then with actual What is
Yang
it called?
has a very financial and business background.
Yeah, he's like continuing that conversation into actual practical like methods.
Well, because this guy's not like a politician.
Well, neither was Yang. Let's take a look.
You know, the one way that we have tried to get money to consumers is by giving it to companies in the hopes that it trickles through those companies back to employees. And what I will tell you is I think we will be disappointed by that. I think that a lot of companies that got support will still be struggling when the terms of those grants and loans fall off, which is September. And unfortunately, I think we may see large waves of layoffs that just happen in Q4 heading into Christmas time of 2020. Instead, I think we really need to think about direct capital injections into the hands of people. And when you look at the governments all around the world, they've all embraced this, particularly in the developing world. And I would just encourage us, you know, there's maybe not that many lessons you could claim to be learned from a developing country, but this is one where I think that their level of compassion for everyday citizens in their countries is worth copying.
Well, we
and
certainly
putting more money into people's hands, letting consumer spending
nations,
drive GDP as we try to get out of this pandemic, I think is a very good and smart idea.
We certainly need a more efficient way to get the money to the people who actually need it. It's one of the reasons why Harvard's acceptance of money through the CARES Act, not necessarily the PPP program, caused some level of outrage, including from you. I mean, that's a sign
it's a complete joke.
When people are sitting there.
It's a complete joke, and it's a perversion of what this program is supposed to be. And this is what I mean by it'll take a while, Scott, for us to really figure out the unintended consequences of this. You know, if there are multimillionaire land developers that are getting PPP, but not small businesses that really employ one or two people, or, you know, that they work with banks that don't have the connectivity into the government, whereas the large banks were able to facilitate and mobilize credit or payments to their best businesses. All of these things are probably what happened. Back to your first point, I just want to make sure that I touch this. The IRS knows how to give money to every single citizen taxpayer of the United States. They know this. They know how to do it tomorrow. They could cut a check tomorrow. Here's another example. Look, we're going to spend trillions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer money on junk debt. There's $1 trillion of U.S. student debt that sits at the Department of Education. There's nothing stopping the Federal Reserve from retiring that debt. Massively simple, straightforward, easy way to drive consumer spending, to give money into the hands of consumers, to do something right for individual U.S. citizens and taxpayers. That's another idea. My point is, it's right now we are way too tilted into things that are opaque, that are difficult to administer, and that may not have the intended consequences we want. Of every dollar that we've given out, fiscal and monetary, you know, what we're talking about is less than 5 cents that it's gotten into the hands of a U.S. consumer. All I'm saying is, why not 10 or 15 cents or 20 cents?
Well, so the point that he made that I like is we need to rely on consumer spending to drive GDP during this crisis. And that means getting...
The way our markets are, yeah.
And the way our bailout has been going, for every dollar that we spend on bailing out a company, or on bailout money in general, only 5 cents. That's like
to the bottom, or to the people.
To the people.
The most.
To consumers.
This is why we've proven over and over again in our economics that trickle down doesn't work. It has never worked. It's a really inefficient way to get the help needed to where it needs to go.
And then
there's way more efficient ways to move our resources. And so, that's why he's saying, look at the developing countries.
Do you know how much student debt is?
Yeah, they could just.
It's a trillion.
It's a make-up number.
It's
anyway.
weird.
You
it's like
cancel the contracts.
It's just, you know, before it seemed like a lot because it's $1 trillion, and $1 trillion is like
compared
it's hard
to how
to
much
fathom.
Our debt of like
22 trillion, right?
Yeah.
That was what it was. So it's like, wow, to add $1 trillion onto it, because even people were freaking out when it was every time it hits a new, like when it hit like the 21 trillion mark. And
but that's like a direct injection into your own governing people that will that your GDP depends on.
So
whether it's about consumerism or production, you know.
Pre-pandemic, it was like, yeah, it was an argument. Post-pandemic, it's like, oh wow, you guys just printed 12 trillion out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. It's like he's like, you could easily get rid of student debt. Yeah, they used to call it quantitative easing. Now they call it
semantics. They just keep changing it
bailout.
Depending on who's who. Yeah,
they call them repo loans.
Junk bonds. No,
junk bonds that's something else.
Anyways.
Yeah, you're gonna get corrected by the comments when the channel gets bigger, so you got to be careful.
But that's the problem. They keep changing terms, and so it keeps messing me up. And I think that maybe I don't understand what is going on, but when I come down to it and ask the right questions, it's like, yeah, that's been going on. I thought we already came to the conclusion that doesn't work.
They don't have any other levers. Like, what other macroeconomic things can you do?
Yeah, is it like a snowball effect? Like, you can't stop it? Like, it's just going to have to crash? Which basically it has right now. So why don't we... Now we can start implementing... It's like what the mayor of Las Vegas says. We can be the guinea pigs.
The
implementing...
dollar is too tight.
Technologies that we have
and
available.
The army.
And the army, dude, why can't we use our biggest, most efficient voluntary base that we have? That's what we should be proud of as U.S. people.
You know why?
It's all voluntary. Who has a voluntary military that strong for that many years?
I don't think the military will move until the military-industrial complex can make money.
They already make money.
No, it's like from what? Where do you want them to do? They have to make money doing it. Otherwise, Lockheed and Boeing and General Motors, GE.
I know, now they have to start making more satellites and stuff outside. And dude, like they're always like making stuff and buying stuff.
Yeah, but nothing makes more money than a Target. Apparently.
True.
I don't know. That's what the last 20 years of.
The satellites and stuff that they're putting up there.
No, I mean the military-industrial complex, and that's all government spending. They want people to buy, and if the government has to buy weapons from them to keep the wars going, that's why our military is out there.
Well, that's the thing.
That's why we spend $500 billion a year.
Americans buying our products, American-made products. When's the last time we had American-made rockets?
Yeah, you have to convince the military-industrial complex that they're going to make more money. You have to convince the people making money off of war that they're going to make more money doing that. Otherwise, they're just going to keep the wars going. That's why.
That's right. This is a war. It's a war right here. This is what I'm saying.
No, they don't want to. They don't want to be.
Money. If you can start doing the research and stuff to start fighting repeat pandemics, why don't we get prepared for when our antibiotics don't work?
I know, that's what I'm saying. You gotta convince them. Don't convince me, convince them.
Fine. What are we watching next?
That was it.
Oh.
Was that it? Is there a fifth video? No, that's it.
We haven't even, wow, we're getting faster and faster. Or less.
Yeah.
Or smaller videos.
Well, I've been... yeah, a little bit of both. Tomorrow we'll start taking calls. Actually, hey, Trung, are you still on? Do you want to call in?
Where is he? Oh, he might have gone.
Let's see.
For the, what time is?
We have another 4:20 coming up in 8 minutes.
This 4:20 coming up, we will do to, let me look for a city. City in Central Time, Mountain Time, right? Is it Central?
I think it's Central.
What time is it in Central?
Trung left us. Oh, I'm waiting on a call.
Okay, so it is. It's Central Time. That will be 4:20. Now, what major city?
All right, well, we might as well react to a video to give us more content.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Mexico City!
Nice.
Oh yeah, we're gonna smoke one to Mexico City. Dun dun dun. My friend Wicha, the one that was at my wedding, she's from Mexico City. I should tell her to call in.
Oh yeah, why not?
I don't know if she smokes weed. She doesn't need to smoke weed. Oh, she might be in Cuba still.
Let's see. I wonder if this is
Oh, I don't like how that looks.
I kind of want to watch this video.
I'm like, did he go bald?
Ah, he has music in them. Damn it.
You can't play music?
Well, it's just we can still watch it. It's fine. I just have to cut out the parts with music. It's just easier. Maybe Logan Paul. Hold on, sorry. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time picking a video because I haven't watched any of these. That's why. Let me try to find.
Oh, Nana sent me something about a clip to do on the.
God damn it! Why is it so hard?
Oh wait.
Ooh, maybe this one. Okay, let's do this one.
What is my most controversial?
There we go. Here we go. You asked about controversy. Let's try to react to it like those Korean girls. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
It's okay. Let's do this. 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll smoke and then we'll smoke while we're watching it.
Oh, I gotta get back to the kids.
What? It hasn't even been an hour.
Because sometimes they're like
downloads.
high maintenance, and then you need to like.
What is my most controversial video? Fish lasagna? Bridge? Nope. It's why I don't like Marvel movies.
Why?
Let's look at this video. This is the worst dislike ratio I have on any.
Last but not least, in Infinity War, apparently a big deal of the movie is that a lot of superheroes die. I'm not going to spoil which ones or anything like that, but let's just entertain the idea that, let's say, Iron Man dies.
Okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Sorry, hold on.
This is why you wanted to see it before you.
I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to actually talk about his controversies.
Oh.
Hold on, but we should react to a Pewdiepie video because
Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
No, I mean we can just so we can have one more video.
Well, let's do something on Mexico City.
What's going on in Mexico City?
I don't know. I want to know what stoner culture is like in Mexico City if we're going to celebrate the next 420 to Mexico City. Maybe next time I'll look up videos for the last 420 celebration.
Oh wait, on YouTube. I don't think they have weed there.
What?
Will Mexico?
I think it's legal. guess.
I'm trying to figure. Is it this one? There was a video I felt like that he summed up his like career in a way. What are you ewing at?
I thought we watched it. The girls watched it.
No, the girls watched a bunch of his videos. 30 seconds to 4:20. Is it it's around here somewhere. It's around when he got 100 million subscribers, which is pretty crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Why I stopped?
Pew News. All right, it's 4:20 in Mexico City. Happy 420, everyone. Was it that long?
Para la Huicha.
Huicha. Do you still talk to her?
She might be in Cuba. She's from Distrito Federal. They'd always talk about it as DF. I'm like, what is that in this Mexico City? Mm-hmm. And then she stayed there and did her residency there. She stayed for a long time. I think she's oncology. Anyways, I don't think she wanted to go back. She was one of those Mexicans that got kidnapped by another Mexican, like.
Jeez.
Yeah. She had to grow up in that kind of. So maybe that's why she loves Havana and just Cuba. It's way more chill, even if there's a lot of people.
This one.
Here it is. It blew up. I got millions of views. You got a charm to them.
Okay, I think this is it.
Oh.
This is a good.
It looks like their pastor was Martha Stewart. They're efficient. What's that? Officiate? I don't know what the name is.
I feel like it's. I like to compare PewDiePie kind of to Conan O'Brien when he was younger, because when Conan O'Brien started, he reached an audience that didn't know.
When did Conan O'Brien start his career? What year? Do you know? Around or what decade? Because I feel like it was
the 90s.
Oh.
I think 30 years. Has he been on TV for 30 years? He's been on TV for a while, but
because he was the only late night show person I can watch when I in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, so I think PewDiePie is a lot
similar to that
for like a generation of young people. They watch PewDiePie and they can't watch anyone else because he relates to them in a way that's very unique. And
even though he's from, where is he from?
He's from Sweden, but he's just he lives I think he has a house in Japan too. Anyway, so this is his 100 million award from YouTube when he got 100 million subscribers, and he kind of goes through, I feel like, some notable moments in his career.
But here it is. Before we get going on this video, here's me. Hello. I have a question. Have you ever bought something online to then realize you could have gotten it for less? That is literally worse than accidentally killing your dog in Minecraft. Okay, not really, but luckily, I discovered Honey. Honey is a free browser extension that lets you save money online. The way Honey works is that it scans the internet for coupon codes whenever you check out, and just like Unicorn Wizard Magic, it poops it out and saves you money. Amazing. Honey literally knows about every single coupon code there is. You know those weirdos at the mall with all those coupon codes? That's Honey. Imagine having an army of those working for you.
I know, I need one for my editor on the computer.
Honey. Honey knows about over 20,000 websites, such as Amazon, Alibaba, GameStop. You're a gamer. Razer, it works on Razer. When you buy your PewDiePie headphones, Honey will save you money.
He's such an entrepreneur. Like he does his own commercials, you know. It's so cool.
I gotta say, it feels amazing. It feels almost as good as hitting 100.
I know, you know. I think he's an introvert. I think it's practiced. He's had to practice. I think he enjoys it now, but it's definitely. I think it's a learned trait. I don't think.
This is nice to save extra money because then I have more money.
I think he likes creating content.
Wouldn't want to direct someone.
I think it's just a good feeling knowing you're paying the absolute.
If you're an introvert, you don't want to have to direct somebody else.
Honey's for everyone.
Sure.
For anything you buy online, go join.
Fine, I'll just do it.
/PewDiePie.
I think
and
I
all
can
the YouTubers have promoted Honey, but if you haven't downloaded Honey now is the time to do it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it saves you money. Now, why am I getting angry about it? I am literally getting angry about it because it's so easy. It's such a win-win service. You literally can't lose anything from using it. It takes 2 clicks to install. Link is in the description. Do it! It's as Mr. Beast says, unless you hate money, you should download Honey.
Join honey.com/PewDiePie.
Also, big thanks to Honey for helping me celebrate this huge milestone of 100 million. Let's get in with the video.
9 years ago, I uploaded my first video onto YouTube.
He's got 2
This
lights.
is what that video looked like.
He has a mirror behind him so you can see his setup.
I know.
That was his first video on YouTube.
It blew up. I got millions of views, and I was big right away. No. Instead of 12 million views, this video had about 3 or 4. This is what my content actually looked like back in that day.
PewDiePie! And I am back with Black Ops, with an awesome game of Search and Destroy.
It wasn't good. It wasn't engaging. It wasn't even original, but I loved it. It took so many uploads just for me to hit even 100 subscribers. And hitting 100 subscribers was huge. Huge for me.
And yeah, today we're gonna celebrate because I got 100 subscribers. Oh my lord, 100 subscribers.
It's funny looking back to that video and what I said. I obviously had big goals.
Early 20s?
I like to aim even at big goals, even though they might not be relevant at all. But no, I don't wanna be famous.
But at that time, I was 20 years old. I was living in Sweden in a small flat. I had just moved away from home. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I enjoyed it.
He's so cute.
I was also studying at university at the time. Industrial economics and management. My calling in life. That's what I want to do. So I decided this YouTube hobby, I'll probably have to set aside because I should probably focus on my finals. So I uploaded a video saying I was going on a break, but in reality, I was quitting. This was it for me.
Just can't put
oh
my
my
hobby
gosh,
in
he was
front
so young.
of
Swedish Justin
right
Bieber.
now. So I'm sure I'm sure most of you will understand that, and I'm gonna miss you guys a lot actually.
Which was a pretty reasonable choice to make, considering I had about 5 people that actually watched me during this time. But luckily, the break didn't last long. Just a few days later, I was back uploading videos again. I had found what I was actually passionate about, and I wasn't ready to just let it go. I knew that a career in YouTube was so far away. It was more of a myth than a dream at this point, because people didn't even know if it was possible. But it was always at the back of my mind that there was a tiny chance that this could actually happen. I was back uploading videos, and I tried out this new horror game that had just come out called Amnesia, and it was scarier than anything that it didn't even compare.
Holy fuck. Welcome back.
And the top comment of this video really says it. It is what started it all, for me at least. I wasn't popular as soon as I played Amnesia, but for the first time, the 5 people that watched my videos, they really enjoyed it. And I could tell I was onto something. And this wasn't just new for me, it was a new thing on YouTube as well. And I had never played horror games before. It was genuinely horrible. I made montages and compilations of the best moments where it's really just me screaming. They're kind of loud, they're kind of obnoxious, but they got a charm to them. Eventually I had grown 1,000 subscribers, but it was also clear I had grown an audience that really cared about me. I used to be an introvert, but YouTube really helped me open up, because on the other side there was people that really appreciated the side of me that I didn't show to anyone. At this point, I had completely failed school. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. My passion was somewhere else, and I famously started selling hot dogs to sustain myself. But I look back at this time with great memories because I was finally pursuing my goal, my dream. Not selling hot dogs, but making videos in my spare time, that is. At this time, I managed to meet a girl online, who later became my wife.
Is that an innuendo for something?
No.
I won't bore you with every step of the way of the journey. It's been long. It had its ups and downs. I made a lot of mistakes on the way, but I've grown. I feel like I have, at least. And I feel like I've finally come in terms with the responsibility I have as a creator. About 100 million subs too late, but you know. But the channel's done a lot of good too. A lot of things I'm truly proud of. We literally raised millions of dollars to charities. And I'm really proud of my audience for helping me do that.
Wow.
Looking back at myself in that flat in Sweden is a very surreal experience. I would never, ever have imagined this outcome. Beyond my wildest dreams came true. 10 times over, 100 times over. I'm 9 years older now. I'm still awkward as fuck, but I finally got confidence in myself. And I'm really proud of who I am today. And instead of 100 subs, we hit 100 million subs. We did it! I want to thank all the people I work with over the past couple years. You know who you are. I want to thank the people I collaborated with.
Wow, that's so nice. He was on YouTube for 9 years. It's crazy. Starting 2010. It's going to be 10 years soon. It's 2020 now.
Yeah.
Wow. What a guy. He really pioneered.
I never watched it. That's probably the first actual PewDiePie video I watched.
Yeah, it's like he
beginning to end.
sets the ceiling for kids that want to become who want to be on YouTube.
Oh, is that why Adriana wants to make videos?
Well, she sees a lot of people.
She keeps
That's what I'm
asking me
saying.
to post stuff. I'm like, I don't.
But it's like people.
It's weird for me to video, because I've always said I don't want to, you know. But
I
now
think
they
that
want it.
I think like the average YouTube channel probably has like I should look it up.
It's so weird that kids want. She doesn't want to pose unless I tell her I might post it.
Because other people can see it.
But that's so weird. That's the Cuban side of me. I never understood.
Huh, interesting. Channels with fewer than 10 uploads saw a measly 11 subscribers, 2,900 views on average, whereas a channel with more than 100 uploads saw this jump to 834 subscribers and 17,000 views per upload. So, I'm sorry, 177,000 views per upload. And so I'm guessing depending on how often you upload, you'll see your subscribers. So, but you know, the average channel basically has less than 1,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. So if a channel is doing well, it has around 1,000 subscribers. But what I'm saying is PewDiePie sets the ceiling where it's like if a channel is really well, you can get up to 100 million.
Yeah.
As a single person, not like a studio like
China
T-Series.
have access to?
I'm sure they have a different YouTube. They have a different Google. Google made it for them. Well, I guess that's it for today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. You know who you are, Trung.
And maybe Miguel. Miguel sometimes watching. Is he?
I think it would have jumped up to 2. But thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow.
Are you in Mexico City?
All right. And remember, if you don't have buds, we're your buds. Have a good one, guys.